Good morning, peace and blessings to everybody. I hope everybody is blessed today. If you don't feel like you are, you are. If you woke up this morning, you're in good health, you're blessed. You know, I'm sitting here at the park and I'm looking at this beautiful landscape, man. I'm looking at the trees and the water. You know, it's a nice little lake up here, and it just reminds me of how we take so much for granted and how truly blessed that we are, man. It reminds me of just how beautiful the world is that we live in. But it also made me wonder, man. It also made me think of how a place with so much beauty could harbor so much chaos and confusion and hatred and injustice and inequality. And it got me to thinking, like, how did we get here? How did we get here? How did this happen? You know, how could a place with so much beauty have so much chaos, and people are just so hateful and full of malice? And it just made me think people really need to get over themselves, man. And what I mean by that is people are just so prideful and selfish, which is the root of all evil. This is why the world is so full of inequality and injustice, because people need to be self-exalted. They have to be. They need a neck to put their foot on, to have someone to look up to them. Because if we all looking eye to eye, then who's looking up in me? And that's the mindset of the world that we live in. And this is why you have injustice and inequality and racism, because I have to be superior than you. That's the mindset. And it's in every aspect of life, whether you're black, white, middle class, upper class. We as a whole, the majority of people think the very same way that the system they petition against. They petition against a system that was designed to oppress and marginalize people, us, by race, ethnicity, class, religion, because you share the same attributes: lust, greed, malice, hate. But yet you try to petition against the very system that you perpetuate. So, I'm sitting here going, like, how did we get here? And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's not deep at all, man. And I know everybody have had that question cross their mind at some point in their lifetime. I mean, if you even slightly conscious, you have asked yourself that. Well, how did we get here? Why is life so difficult? How are we living in a world where there is a plethora of multimillionaires and billionaires, yet we have people starving? They're dying because they can't eat. The lack thereof is taking people out. And it's not like they're on a planet where there's no sustainability. They literally live on a planet where food falls off the tree. Food comes up out the ground. Yet on the other end of the spectrum, you got people dying because they're eating themselves to death. You have to laugh to keep from crying. They're dying because they're eating themselves to death. On the other end of the spectrum, you have people dying of starvation. Just marinate on that for a minute. They're dying because they had too much access to food. Food killed them. Then you have people that live in mansions the size of Mall of America in Minneapolis just to say that I got it. You don't need a house that big, but I'm not hating on nobody that like to do it big, that like nice things. But what I'm trying to say is that you have people that literally have an access of amenities and necessities that other people need and they don't have. They literally have nothing. The haves and the have-nots. Why are relationships, why are they so difficult? And I'm not just talking about trivial disagreements either. I'm talking about divorce. I'm talking about domestic abuse. I'm talking about broken homes. And why are children being abused? Why are children being sexually abused? Why are children being aborted? You really want to know why? Because people need to get over themselves. I said it already. It's just that simple. Pride, selfishness, that's the root of all sin and evil. And if you don't agree with me, let's just take a look at the definition of selfish. Selfish is concerned excessively or exclusively with one's self, seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well-being without regard for others. Without regard for others. Now, that latter part of it is a reflection of the society that we live in today. It really is. without regard. We live in a society where we have no regard for others, and that in itself is a reflection of how we all as a majority are living. That's why you have all these organizations with their own agendas, because they're only concerned about their own well-being without regards for others. Then let's look at pride. Now, pride is a feeling, deep pleasure, satisfaction derived from one's own achievement. Generally speaking, that's not a bad thing. You should feel good about your achievements. But when you put it into context, it brings about a whole different perspective. If you have the mindset of a selfish person and you have a selfish spirit, it's the recipe for self-exaltation and narcissistic, conceited type mindset. So now we have the cause of how we got here, right? What's the remedy? What's the solution? Okay, well, how can we change all this? Matthew 7:12. Let me show you. So whatever you wish others do to you, do also to them. Simple, right? It's just that simple. Again, ain't nothing deep about it. So what's the problem, people? What's the problem? For this is the law of the prophets. Now, a law is a rule of set of rules of conduct binding legal force and effect, prescribed and enforced by authority, which in any case, that would be God, right? This is the law for peace and harmony. He gave it to you right there. Matthew 7:12. Read it for yourself. Understand there are laws in effect that we must adhere to in order to receive God's full blessing and protection. Yes, he will protect you. Again, you do not have to riot. You don't have to protest. I don't care if it's peaceful or not. You don't have to do those things. All you have to do is obey. That's it. He say, I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and whoever dishonors you, I will curse. Yeah. He'll act on your behalf. Genesis 12:1-20. He'll be your security guard, your bodyguard, and all you need if you just obey, people. Being a blessing to others is really what matters to God. So much that we were called to do just that. We're obligated to bless others. And to do otherwise is just sheer disobedience, which causes severe consequences. What's the consequences? Just take a look around you. Look at what's going on today. See, he didn't bless you so you can have a closet full of designer name brand clothes, or so you can flex in your new whip, your Mercedes, your BMW, Audi, whatever your driving preference is. He didn't bless you so your nails could be on fleek, so your Peruvian could be on fleek. He didn't bless you for none of that. He didn't bless you for your big old house, your 35,000 square foot mall. He didn't bless you for that. But he blessed you so you can be a blessing. This is the system that he set in place for your peace, your harmony, your justice, your equality, all these things that you are petitioning for. He already set a system in place for you, but you refuse to abide by it. That's the problem with you, with me, with the majority of the world today. That is the problem. Whoever brings blessings will be enriched, and one who waters will be watered himself. Now that's Proverbs 11:25. This sums up everything that I've been saying, man. But see, the thing of it is this: none of this can be achieved if you don't love or know God to begin with. If you want peace and harmony, justice, equality, and all these things, you have to simply love God and love thy neighbor. It's just that simple. A good rule of thumb to remember this by is, if it's love that you are not willing to be demonstrated, then don't expect it to be reciprocated. It's just that simple. You can't have the audacity to even begin to get out there and protest and expect these things because you're not willing to demonstrate it. Don't that make sense? That operates against the whole law. There go that word again. Law of giving and receiving and giving. You can't petition someone to not hate you. Okay? You can't petition against a system that is designed to systematically marginalize and oppress based on your race, ethnicity, and religion if you share the same attributes as the system that you're petitioning against. Again, the system is just a reflection of the majority of people that think that way. That's all it is. You can't petition for justice and equality and peace and harmony for the simple fact you just don't qualify for it. Yeah, you don't qualify for it. It's just like when you try to qualify for a loan at a bank. You know what I'm saying? It's certain pre-qualifications that the lender looks for, you know, your credit score, your debt to income ratio, your work history, all these things the lender looks for before you can become a candidate for the loan. So likewise with this, God has certain pre-qualifications before you can qualify for your peace, harmony, justice, and equality. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the greatest commandment. The second is just like it. They're intertwined. You can't have one without the other. The second one is just like it. You shall love thy neighbor as yourself. Just that simple. On these two commandments depend the whole law of the prophets. Matthew 22, 37, 40. Read it for yourself. Now, you ain't gonna legislate against hate. You can't petition against a system that you share the same attributes with. Greed, lust, malice, hate. These things disqualify you and takes you out of the will of God. I guess to put things in perspective, to grasp this concept a little better would be to remember why you were created in the first place. You're not here to be entertained. You're not here for your own pleasure. You are here to be a blessing. Do not repay evil for evil, but on the contrary, bless, for you were called that you may obtain a blessing. That's 1 Peter 3:9. You're only blessed just to bless others. You could floss a little bit, I guess, you know, while you're blessing somebody. You know, my main point is this, is, man, that we start practicing humility towards each other, man, and start putting others first before ourselves. Again, let's use common sense. I'm not saying that you should neglect yourself. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't fight for your rights. I'm not saying that. But let's just be real. A lot of energy that we're spending is just because we just refuse to love one another. We just refuse to humble ourselves, man. Get over yourself. A lot of us don't even speak to each other when we see each other, man. Ladies, people hold the door open for you. You don't even say thank you. I mean, it costs you nothing. It's effortless to say thank you, to say, hey, how you doing? How your day going? Just little practical things that we can do to kind of just get us on the road to being a better person, a better versions of ourselves, you know. We need to really start practicing humility. Again, you know, charity starts at home. It starts with the people around you. It starts with the people that you wake up with, go to bed with, your next door neighbor, the people that you work with, the people that you see every day. Charity starts at home. Let's start practicing humility towards each other. So you asked the question, Keith, how can we be more humble? Well, in order for you to be more humble, you have to practice humility. How do you practice humility? Well, I do have a few practical measures you can implement in your life. I call it the Humble Starter Kit. It can help you along the way in your journey to being more humble. And they really are practical. I consider myself to be a pragmatic person, and these are practical measures that can help you out. Number one, make sure your actions are the complete antithesis of the dialect of pride. Meaning, if you've been operating in a spirit of pride, you're conceited, you're all that, just do the opposite. Just be the opposite of what you've been for so long. If you're conceited, be humble. How do you be humble? Stop bragging, stop being flashy, stop having to be the center of attention. All these things, just stop, just do the opposite. Two, put others first. That kind of speaks for itself, and I kind of hit on that minutes ago. Just grab someone this week and give to someone that's in need, no matter what it is, even if it's just a good word of advice or encouragement. Give someone a compliment, anything, just do it. Number three, listen rather than talk. Be open for feedback. Shut up, in other words, you know, just shut up. You know, I know that sounds a little abrasive, but you got to be quiet sometimes. All right, number four, recognize your faults. Accept the fact you don't know everything, okay? Number five, which is actually number one, don't be so braggadocious. Stop bragging on yourself. Stop speaking highly of yourself. Leave the window of opportunity open for a compliment. Let others speak on your behalf. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It is my deepest desire that we do better because we need each other. We all we got. I think that once we do that, I'm not saying that everything is going, it's going to be heaven on earth, but I guarantee you, if everybody implement these standards in their lives, I believe that it'll be a good start. Let's just say that. It'll be a good start. So let's try that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start doing right by each other for our own future's sake. Start practicing love and humility. All right. So in the meantime, y'all keep grinding, y'all keep sweating, keep growing in the name of Jesus, because that's how we roll. And I'm finna roll into this workout. You all have a blessed day. I love you all. Peace out.